Hare Krishna. Welcome to the Bhagavad Gita class, the long version series. So let us resume. We will start with the Mangalacharan prayers, and then we will continue with chapter 16. So thank you once again, everyone, for joining so sincerely. Many of your names and faces are very familiar. So we have become good friends over the last almost 1.5 or 2 years. So please keep continuing the study of Bhagavad Gita, and please keep giving me the opportunity to study it as well and to share it with you all. I really enjoy this. Thank you so much. So let us start with Mangalacharan prayers. I will share my screen. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupaha Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yutah Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha. Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute. Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Haripriye. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shrivas Adi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai. Thank you again for joining. So we will continue with our discussion on 16th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. So once again, I will share my screen from the iPad. This is a sort of a special series where we are doing whiteboard based learning. Okay. All right. So last time we covered up to 16.8. So today we will start from 16.9. Let me just adjust my screen here to line up the windows. All right. So today we will start from 16.9, hopefully go to 16.24, which is end of chapter. We will see how much we can cover. So we will start from 16.9. So a description of the demoniac nature had started by Lord Krishna. And in 16.8, Lord Krishna was describing the sort of the mentality of the demons or the demoniac mentality. And basically the main point here was that they think that everything is unreal. This world is unreal and there is no God in control. There is Anishwaram. So Anishwara, there is no supreme, or there is no supervisor, we can say that. So basically they can do whatever they want. So everything is driven by kama haitukam. So their own lust or their own desires drive their actions. Nothing else drives their actions. Their own desires drive this. So this is a very important point, that because of this and because of this, that there is no supervisor, there is nobody to control them, they are not accountable, there is no accountability. Therefore, they can do whatever they want. It's like a wild, wild west kind of scenario. And they have a free hand to do anything they want. So that is the mentality they have. And we will see this, what should drive our actions. So right now, their own desires drive their actions. In the last verse, 16.24, we will see what indeed should drive our actions. And the answer I will give you will be what? Anybody knows from Bhagavad Gita? What should drive our actions?
Krishna.
Sure, but according to the 16th chapter, the last verse, what should drive our actions?
Devi. Oh, this one.
Okay, we can read with the 16th, the last verse, and find out the answer. It is right there. It's not a secret.
Start everything with Om.
You are looking at end of 17th chapter, looks like. You got the chapter wrong.
The scriptures?
Very nice. Shastra. Shastra. Who said scriptures? Was that Prasoon Prabhu? Or?
Yeah, it was me, Prabhuji.
So yes, Shastra or scriptures should drive what our actions should be. Very nice. So we will cover that hopefully today, by end of today. So we saw the mentality of the demons, how they operate. Now we will go a little deeper into the demoniac nature from 16.9. And Lord Krishna gives a very detailed description of the demoniac nature. One may ask, why is Lord Krishna giving so much detailed description? So once again, I want to remind that the purpose of this is to find ourselves in this description. So somewhere or the other, we will see that we are behaving in this way as well. Everybody here or in this world may not be fully demoniac, so they may not be everything combined, but some portions of this demoniac description would apply or may apply to us. So we can see that there is some demoniac element in our nature somewhere, and the purpose should be to work on that, to reduce that and eliminate that. So that should be the purpose. So with that purpose in mind, please listen to these verses. Otherwise, it is just like you can think of it like a movie, that you are seeing the movie which is focused on a villain. So none of us wants to be a villain. None of us is a full villain. There are much bigger villains out there. So we are small villains. So let us identify our small villainous nature and work on it. And wherever we can find it in the words of this Shastra of Bhagavad Gita, we should take it to heart. So that is the purpose of this chapter or of this description, this portion of the description, which will go on till the 18th verse or 20th verse or 22nd. There are various logical milestones. At 18th verse, the description of the demoniac nature will stop. Next two verses will describe how Lord Krishna reciprocates with such demons. And the next two verses, 21 and 22, so just to kind of show up to the 18th verse, 16.18 up to 18, a description of of demoniac nature will come. Then 16.19 to 20 will be Lord Krishna's reciprocation. And then 16.21 to 22 will be the generalized vices. So there are three main vices, kama, krodha, and lobha, which will be given by Lord Krishna as the source or the root of all demoniac nature. So, the roots of the root vices, we can say. Okay. And then 23 and 24, 16.23 and 24 will give the solution, which is shastra. Shastra vidhi, the procedures or the process given in the shastra. So that is the breakdown of the rest of this chapter. All right. So 16.9. Now let us start. Etam drishtim avashtabhya nashtat mano alpabuddhayah prabhavantya ugra karmanaha kshayaya jagato hitah. So the translation is, following such conclusions, the demoniac people, so etam drishtim avashtabhya, so by looking or by this kind of vision, drishtim, which was covered in 16.8, that this world is unreal, there is no accountability, and my desires drive everything. With such a vision, okay, are you following? With that vision of 16.8, nashta atmano alpa buddhayah, their intelligence of these people is completely lost. They don't operate with any intelligence of right and wrong. So right and wrong is completely lost. And then, so following such conclusions, the demoniac, who are lost to themselves and who have no intelligence, engage in unbeneficial, ahitah word is there, engage in unbeneficial, horrible works, ugra karmanaha, meant to destroy the world, kshayaya jagata. So what do they do? So the focus of this 16.9 is, with the mentality of 16.8, of verse 16.8, what do the demons do? Okay, so that is answered in 16.9. So their mentality is completely destroyed, their intelligence is completely lost, they cannot discriminate between right and wrong. And what do they do because of this? Three things. 1, 2, 3. First is ugra karmana. Ugra karmana means, Srila Prabhupada translates this as horrible works. Okay, they engage in horrible works. The second one is kshayaya jagata. Kshayaya jagata means that destroy the world. And the third one is ahitaha, which means unbeneficial to the world. So it could be a combination or any permutation of the three, 1 or 2 or 3 or all 3 or 2 or 3, whatever, some combination of the three. The biggest demons do all three. They start with not benefiting the world. They start with horrible works, which don't benefit anyone. And ultimately, it leads to destruction of the whole world. So, that is today's situation. Now, in the purport, Srila Prabhupada writes that not promoting God consciousness also ultimately, with however good intention, ultimately leads to demoniac tendencies. Okay, so even with good intentions, it leads to demoniac tendencies. So we have seen this in today's world. Now, no leader or no politician or no big person in the world today will physically say, let's go kill people, let's harm people. Now, some people will say, like, there was Hitler, there are the terrorists. These days, you can say there is Vladimir Putin. He's telling his soldiers, go and kill people in Ukraine. Whatever may be the situation, there are some people like that. But generally, people will not say, let's go and commit criminal activities. Internally, they may say that, but externally, they will not. But nobody, at the other hand, also says, let's go promote God consciousness or some kind of nobody. Have you ever heard any politician say, people say we will eradicate hunger, that they may say, or poverty, but have you any time heard any politician say that we will eradicate lies or lying or any kind of bad behavior? No, nobody kind of even is going towards the mode of goodness. It is mainly to satisfy people's bodily desires. Okay, we will feed you, we will give you a house, we will give you some money, but good qualities nobody is promoting. So even good qualities are not promoted by today's leaders. Okay, what do they promote? Only bodily comforts. Now you can all obviously bodily comforts is not equal to good qualities, isn't it? And bodily comforts is all that they are focusing on. Removing poverty, removing hunger, removing this, removing that, or building houses, building bridges. It's all about bodily comforts. It's not about building good qualities. And definitely it is not about promoting God consciousness. All this will ultimately, you give bodily comforts or you promote atheism, ultimately it will lead to demoniac tendency. A very, very good example of this is communism. In the 1920s, a very good concept was established in the Russian or the Soviet area, that everybody is equal. We will, whatever, I don't want to give a lecture on communism, but very soon it devolved into a extremely oppressive regime. Though the idea was good that everybody should be treated equally, but the human nature is to, we will see this demoniac nature, that is human nature without God consciousness, and it devolved very quickly, and it had to be, it automatically crumbled. Even capitalism. Now in capitalism, there is some level of freedom. Today's capitalism, you have by definition some freedom to operate. So people who are God conscious, they are allowed to operate with their God consciousness. But in general, if you see capitalism, it is also highly demoniac, in the sense, if it were to be true unregulated capitalism, it would be basically, it would come down to survival of the fittest. And all kinds of bad tendencies would come out in the open. So I mean, you can say that in a country like America, for example, it's the sort of the role model of capitalism, but and people do help each other. But when the situation becomes very dire, or the situation becomes like an emergency situation, then people's demoniac tendencies come up. So when there is real shortage or scarcity of resources, then demoniac tendencies do show up. Since there is a lot of availability of resources, it is much easy to be nice when the resources are available. But when the resources are very scarce, then these tendencies come up absolutely. I'll give us a example that I heard from someone, which was a very striking example a little later. So that is how these people, the demons, operate. Okay. Then 16.10. So now we will go a little bit deeper, or Lord Krishna goes deeper into the demoniac nature. And here, Lord Krishna is describing the absorption of demons in asat. Asat means everything that is impermanent, or asat, everything that is impermanent means in the material nature. So basically, everything that is material is where their attention is absorbed. So absorption of the demons in asat. Kamam ashritya dushpuram dambhamana madanvitah mohad grihitva asadgrahan pravartante ashuchivratah. So the translation is taking shelter of insatiable lust. Kamam ashritya dushpuram. So ashritya, this word ashritya means taking shelter of. The contrary verse is, for example, 9.13. It says, Mahatmanas tumam partha daivim prakritim ashritam. So the Mahatmas take shelter of the Daivi Prakriti, the divine nature of Krishna, which is basically taking shelter of the lotus feet or the energy of Krishna. So that is what the bhakta or the devotees do. What do the demons do? Kamam ashritya, not daivim ashritya, but kamam ashritya dushpuram. Dambha mana madanvitaha. So dambha mana madanvitaha. We had studied dambha, darpa, and abhimana. So dambha means even for the things that they don't have, they pride about that, or they brag about that. That is dambha mana madanvitaha. So they are completely absorbed. They are intoxicated by what they have and what they don't have, or what they would like to have, whatever image they would like to project, plus whoever they are, depending whatever combination of that, they are just completely madanvitah, means intoxicated, completely absorbed in that consciousness of kamam. The kamam is driven by mada and mana, dambha and mana, and they are completely intoxicated in that consciousness. Mohad grihitva asadgrahan. And in this illusion, moha means illusion, it doesn't mean love. Moha means in illusion. In this illusion, asadgrahan, they have no problem in accepting asat, which means accepting everything that is negative. They have no problem in that. Pravartante ashuchi vratah. And they accept ashuchi vrata, vows that are ashuchi means that are impure vows. So many important points here. So the absorption of the demons is in so the translation is taking shelter of insatiable lust. So insatiable lust, that is the first point. Kamas ashritya dushpuram. Dambha mana madanvitaha, intoxicated by pride. We'll just put it that way. Absorbed in the conceit of pride and false prestige. We can also say this, false prestige, that is dambha. The prestige is not, they don't have it, but it's just false prestige. And then in that state, the demoniac, thus illusioned, are always sworn to unclean work, attracted by the impermanent. So attraction to impermanent, to asat. And the fourth one is pravartante ashuchi vrataha. They swear to impure actions. Okay, they swear to, or we can say they accept. They swear to or they accept impure actions. All right. So we will see here that, and in the next few verses also, that to achieve their goals of extreme sense gratification, this insatiable lust is sense gratification, whatever kind of sense gratification it might be, for name, fame, dhanam, janam, sundarim. Those are the three main things: money, power, and sex. So the lust that is driven, or their desires that are driven by this lust, makes them do bad things. Asat, they have no problem, they are attracted by that, and they have no problem in accepting or doing criminal activities or illegal activities to meet their to fulfill their desires. So the first thing is, there is desire, or there is a strong, we can say, insatiable desire. And when that is not fulfilled, then what you do, you resort to impure activities. And we can say impure as illegal, criminal, etc. activities, and to fulfill those desires. So, and we have seen this is not something new. We may have very strong desires. We see that we have no clean way of fulfilling those desires. So we take the side route. They say that jab whatever ghee सीधी उंगली से नहीं निकलता तो उंगली टेढ़ी कर लो. So another way to interpret that is, if you cannot get anything legally, then you try legal things. No problem. Anything goes. So that is their absorption in asat. Okay. So let me see what else I have in this. Yeah. Yeah. So a very nice example of this is Hiranyakasipu. He's a good example. He's the perfect demon. So all demoniac qualities can be seen in Hiranyakasipu. So he had a very strong desire to control the whole universe. And his strongest desire was to become God, because his brother was killed by God. So he wanted to become God so that he could kill the original God, Vishnu. So that was his strong desire. And for that, he committed a lot of penance, lot of tapasya, to the extent where Lord Brahma even appeared to him and gave him the boon. Now, Lord Brahma was bound to give the boon because that tapasya was done. In fact, after Lord Nrsimhadev appears and kills Hiranyakashipu, he chastises Lord Brahma that why did you give such a boon to Hiranyakashipu? You should not give such boons in the future. So in Hiranyakashipu's case, we see that his strong desire for sense gratification led him to even do this strong tapasya, ultimately not to use it for good purposes, but for oppressing and harming the devotees. Yeah. Okay. So that is 16.10. So now we will go to 16.11. So what is the effect of this, of such mentality or absorption on the demons? Okay, so what are the consequences? What do they go through? And the answer is constant anxiety. they live in constant anxiety. So for us also, when we do, or when we are driven by sense gratification, and then when we take shelter of asat, of some impure activities, we live in constant anxiety. Okay. Like one time, let's say, first the desire is to save money or to become rich. Then you say, why I have to give so much in taxes? Okay, whatever may be, that's a separate matter. Why the government should charge 40%, 50% tax? Of course, there is corruption in the government, so they want more and more and more. Okay, let alone that part. Okay, let us assume that whatever taxes we have to pay are legal, are justified. Of course, legal has to be there, but let's say it is justified. One thinks, why I have to give so much money? Then you commit tax fraud. And then you are constantly in anxiety. Oh, will there be an audit? Will they come and check my records, check my passbook? Every time, one of my friend was telling, he confided in me that, he's living in America. He has some accounts in India, which he did not disclose. A lot of money was there in America. According to the tax laws, you have to disclose all the money in all your global accounts, not just your accounts in the US. So he did not. So every time I open the mailbox and I get a letter, anything, I'm seeing, is there a letter from IRS? IRS is the tax department in the US. Oh, today no letter from IRS. Thank God. Every time the first thing he sees is there any letter from IRS? So what is this? 365 days he goes to mailbox to check the mail. 365 days he's looking, first thing, is there a letter from IRS? So this is like, our little anxiety. And similarly, Kamsa, another great demon, constantly in anxiety. Where is Krishna? Where is Krishna? Did this demon, he sent like at least 20-25 demons minimum, according to the Bhagavatam. There are many more, but Bhagavatam names at least 20-25 demons there, and says that, how Kamsa is always in anxiety. Is Krishna alive? Did he die? Why is he alive yet? So since the moment he heard that his 8th child of Devaki will kill him, till the day he got killed, actually, that whole life between that time to that time was spent in anxiety, complete anxiety. Similarly, Ravana, from the day he brought Sita, Mother Sita, till the day he died, life of constant anxiety. He could not enjoy whatever he already had. He could have easily enjoyed that. But because of one desire of sense gratification, that whatever he had, 99%, whatever he had, was lost because of this 1%, desire. He could not gratify his senses with everything else either. So, whatever tax you have to pay, you pay the tax and enjoy the rest of the money, at least. Why you have to be in constant anxiety about being caught? Are you following? So like this, the result is constant anxiety. So we read the verse, isn't it? Or no? Oh, we did not read the verse. So, chintam aparimeyam cha, aparimeyam chinta. So first word itself is chinta. Chinta means anxiety, you all understand. Always in chinta. Aparimeyam cha, pralayantam upashrita. Up to the time of pralay, one's own pralay is till the death. Till death, there is chinta, upashrita. Kam upabhoga parama etavaditi nishchita. And in this way, so the translation is, they believe that to gratify the senses, kama upabhoga is the prime necessity of human civilization. Parama, kama upabhoga parama. Thus, until the end of life, pralayantam, their anxiety is immeasurable. Chintam aparimeyam. So their anxiety, completely their life is in anxiety till the end of their life, because they are so absorbed in kama upabhoga parama, that they want to enjoy, but they cannot enjoy. So there is a desire, strong desire to enjoy the senses. Okay. And the consequence is not to enjoy the senses. The consequence is aparimeya chinta. So what we can say, extreme anxiety. That is the consequence. Okay, are you following? They wanted the left side. What they get actually is the right hand side. And then when they realize that, oh, I am getting only anxiety, I'm getting only anxiety, they try to fix the situation by remove this anxiety and to come back to sense gratification. Okay, so what do? They commit illegal activities. So to come back from anxiety to sense gratification, what they try, their try is to commit illegal activity. Okay, more illegal activity. So let's say you committed tax fraud. We'll take that example. One day letter comes in the mail. You are in audit. Please supply or whatever details. Some tax officer will come to your home to check the details. Then you know you are getting caught. So what will you do? What is an example of next illegal activity?
Bribe.
Very nice. Very nice. So then you will say, sir, let us, settle this matter, whatever. So you commit the next illegal activity because you are in this constant anxiety. Or let us say you have committed a crime. You see this in movies all the time. And then there is a witness who has seen. Then you have committed one murder. Now you have to commit the second murder to kill the witness. Then somebody sees that one. Then you have to kill the third. So basically, to remove the anxiety, the point is you have to continue to commit more and more and more sinful activity to relieve yourself of the anxiety that one day you will get caught, right? So that is what happens. So that is this committing more sinful activity. So this was the 11th verse, that the consequence is extreme anxiety. To commit, we can say here, more illegal activity is the content of 12th verse. Okay, so by demoniac nature, you get anxiety, and to relieve yourself from the anxiety, you commit more sinful activity. That is 12th verse. So let us read the 12th verse.
Prabhuji, can I say something here?
Yes.
I mean, this is such an important topic. Anxiety is something that we have gone through in the past, and now I can relate to all those incidences. And I mean, this important topic maybe, I mean, somewhere should be taught in the schools and should be taught everywhere, because this is how we actually start a career, generally.
What do you mean? This is how we start our career?
I mean, this is what everything, I mean, around us is happening, I mean, that's why so many anxiety issues happen to people. And I've gone through that myself in the past. So, I mean, how can this be easily taught to children is my question. I mean, how do you teach this to children easily?
Okay, so we have to look at the starting point. So please tell me, let me talk to you. You can unmute. What is the starting point? It is right here on the slide. What is the
desire? Yes.
Huh?
Strong desire. Strong
Yes.
desire for sense gratification.
Yes. So this is the starting point. So first, there is desire for sense gratification. Why I have to give so much money to the government in tax? That is the starting point. Let us say it is the first salary you got, and now you earned $1,000, let's say, and after working so hard for 1,000, you are left with only 500 because government comes and takes 500. You don't enjoy that. Okay. So because there is that strong attachment, that you first thought that, or the first thought that the initial thought that came to mind was due to this sense gratification. And then that led to anxiety after you committed whatever demoniac activity. So that itself, this one is what should be curbed. Now, once you have committed the illegal activity, there are two things. You are trying to prevent yourself from getting caught, or, prevent yourself from relieve yourself from whatever anxiety that may be there. Plus, you want to enjoy more. It's not just relief from the anxiety, it is also to increase our sense gratification. This original sense gratification did not disappear. It is still there. Now, anxiety has been added to it. So basically, it was a thwarted intention. Actually, I wanted to enjoy, but I got anxiety. चाहते थे ये, मिल गया कुछ और. I wanted X, but I got Y. So first, not only you have to get rid of Y, you want more of X. So you go and try to fix it like this by doing more illegal activities. And you get more anxiety. That cycle, once started, continues. So the root is to children also, we have to teach that this extreme amount of sense gratification is not a good thing. We need to keep our sense gratification in control. And that comes through from a very young age. The best solution is to give spiritual education to the children so that they can develop a taste for spiritual enjoyment. And when there is a development of taste in spiritual enjoyment, automatically material enjoyment taste will diminish. So, but that is extremely hard in today's schools, again, because of variety of reasons, separation, what they call of separation in church and state, and so on and so forth. And to some degree, I agree with that, because there is also this whole concept of my religion versus your religion. And in that spirit of my religion versus yours, even the people who are so-called leaders of religion also fall into the trap of sense gratification. The sense gratification being, my religion is bigger. That is the sense gratification, or better. So I will go and try to denounce your religion. So the answer is, keep religion out. No religion discussion in the schools or anywhere. I think to some extent that is a good answer as well, because the moment you let one party in, other parties will say, I also want to get in, and there will be fighting. So the consciousness has to be purified. And in any case, all said and done, the best way to purify the consciousness is at home. And the parents can give good spiritual consciousness to their children. And obviously for that, they themselves have to be attracted to spiritual progress or spiritual practices or spiritual journey. So if they are themselves not attracted, then the children will very quickly see that, oh, they are just trying to put this on us, but they are themselves not following. Children always follow the actions of the parents, not the words. Of course, they will follow the words if the words match the actions. But if the words don't match the actions, guess which one will the child pick? Actions speak louder than words. And that is very true in the case definitely of children. They will pick up the actions more than the words. So that is the best way to teach the children. It is, in my opinion, a useless debate as to how we can put this in the schools, and this and that is a useless debate. We can have the debate and nothing will really change much. Okay. Okay. So this verse was about chinta. Chintam aparimeyam cha pralayantam upashrita kama upabhoga parama. So there is another important point I want to cover here, that this chinta, this anxiety is to maximize or I would say, in order to maximize sense gratification. And that is the problem. Okay? That this anxiety is to maximize sense gratification. The anxiety itself is not bad, but only when it is in order to maximize sense gratification, it is counterproductive. However, if this anxiety is used for spiritual progress, for our spiritual journey, then it becomes productive, not counterproductive. So there should be anxiety about our spiritual journey. Hey, today, did I make good progress in my spiritual journey? Every morning when you get up, you must have a goal. Or, I tell people, whoever, ask me, make your spiritual goals. You take up a goal today or this week or this month or this year. I have to do this. Like, you can say, this book I want to read, or I want to do this spiritual, I want to, do this much of my spiritual activity, or whatever it may be. We can discuss various types of goals. Break it down. This month I must do this. Today, what I must do. Every day when you get up, you must think, okay, I have to do my daily activities. I have to spend 8 hours at work. I have to take care of my children. I have to help them with the homework. All that is there. Keep time for your spiritual activity. And that anxiety should be there when you are lazing around with some office work. Office work is there and you are doing Facebook. Then you have to think, oh, if I do this Facebook or whatever, then in the night I have to do office work, because the boss will expect it to be finished by tomorrow. And if in the night I do the office work, then whatever I had kept for my spiritual work in the evening, let us say, it will be gone. It will get deprioritized, because there is no boss for spiritual activity. Only Krishna is the boss. So nobody will, there's no sort of, so we must have this anxiety. This anxiety for spiritual journey is a good kind of anxiety. So this could be so this side we can say is a bad kind of spiritual anxiety, and this is a good kind of anxiety when it is for spiritual journey. So please, anxiety itself is not bad, and this kind of anxiety is not going to cause health issues. This bad kind of anxiety causes health issues. The good kind of anxiety is very good, because Lord Krishna is becoming happy with this kind of anxiety in our life. Okay, so that is one very important point I wanted to make. All right, so now we will see this part in verse number 12, how one is impelled to do more illegal activity, more sinful activity, to relieve oneself from the anxiety, but the result is he gets more into anxiety. Okay, so that is the answer, or that is the point being made here. So number 12, asha pasha shatair baddha, so 16.12. Asha pasha shatair baddha kama krodha parayana ihante kama bhogartham anyayenartha sanchayan. So the word anyaya is there. So they take shelter of, or they resort to anyaya. Anyaya means what? Illegal activities. Anyaya, against the nyaya, against the justice. So, or against legal activities. So the translation is bound by a network of hundreds of thousands of desires. Asha pasha shatair baddha. Shat means hundreds. Asha pasha. Pasha means rope. Asha means desires. So bound by hundreds of desires. Kama krodha parayanaha. Hundreds of thousands of desires absorbed in lust and anger. Okay. They secure money by illegal means. So Srila Prabhupada has said money, but here it ihante kama bhogartham. Again, for the purpose of maximizing their kama bhog. Artham means for the purpose of. So kama bhog, to maximize their sense gratification. Anyayena artha sanchayan. They resort to anyaya. So if Siddhi ungli say, if the ghee doesn't come out with a straight finger, then you bend the finger. That is the solution. What is there? By hook or by crook. Somehow or the other, you have to maximize kama bhoga artham for the sake of kama and bhoga, enjoying sense gratification. So that is 16.12. Okay. So anyaya. So the focus here, the focus word is anyaya. Anyaya, or sinful or illegal activity. Okay, illegal in Krishna's law, not as per any country's law. According to Krishna's law, one is committing illegal activity, and whenever you commit illegal activity as per the law of karma, which is Krishna's law, it is sinful. There is no difference between sin and illegal, as long as illegal means according to the rule book of karma or rule book of Krishna, that is illegal. That's called illegal. Okay. All right. So so the point is, an important point is, this anyaya means that there are two possibilities. These demons have no knowledge of nyaya, or we can say of law of karma. Either they have no knowledge, or the second possibility is that they have no fear of the law of karma. One of those things. They may know it, but they are not afraid of it. They think they will get away somehow or the other. And how can you get away finally? By somehow or the other, the topmost demon will think I will kill the main enforcer of this law. If I kill him itself, then what is his law? What good is his law? I will kill the enforcer. That is Hiranyakasipu mentality. If you read the Srimad Bhagavatam, when Hiranyaksha, his brother, was killed, Hiranyakashipu demonstrated a lot of deep knowledge about Shastra. Okay, so one can argue, this question is asked, he had knowledge of Shastra, still why did he commit more illegal, more sinful activities? Because he had this belief that he will kill the enforcer of that Shastra itself. Okay, so that's where he was going. So the ultimate desire is, or the problem is, the first problem could be that you do not know the law of karma. A bigger problem is that you do not have any fear of the law of karma. And the source of that, the highest level of the source of the fear of that no fear, is that I will kill the enforcer of the law of karma. And then what is there to fear? I will then write my own laws after that point. I will rewrite the law books. So that is what is called Hiranyakashipu mentality. But the practical aspect for us here is that we have either no knowledge, but many people have the knowledge of the law of karma. At least they know what is right and wrong. They may not know it as law of karma, but they know what is right, what is wrong. And they have a general sense of that. Nobody, I cannot imagine that somebody may not know what is right, what is wrong at a very high level. Some very borderline cases, that's not what we are talking about. It's just the 90% of the straightforward cases. Okay, like let us take the question of abortion. Okay, now people have all these, hair-splitting debates. Oh, if the mother's life is in danger, then what should we do? Should we save the baby or should we save the mother? Okay, that's a very borderline thing. But 90% of abortions are not done to save the life, is not a mutually exclusive choice that you kill the baby because you want to save the mother. 90% of abortions happen because you had illicit sex, and you didn't the baby was the lady got pregnant, and now you want to get rid of the baby. As simple as that. And then you want to take the life of the baby just because you want to continue your sense gratification, because having a baby is a big responsibility, and you cannot kill the baby after it is born. That is criminal according to the laws. So all those things are there. So we are not talking about the borderline cases, just the straightforward cases. Many people know what is right and what is wrong. So, but they have no fear. So the first step is towards spiritual progress is to have some fear for our actions, some sort of fear or accountability for our actions, that if I'm acting in a certain way, I will be accountable for it in the future, and therefore I should adopt a spiritual consciousness, or I should adopt spiritual priorities in my life. So fear could be the first step. So there are 4 steps given by Bhaktivinoda Thakur: fear, desires, duty, and finally love, in this increasing order. So fear is the first step. At least one should act out of fear of the consequences of demoniac activities. And then it can grow into desire for something positive, material. If I do spiritual activities, I will be peaceful. So the desire could be your mental peace, your good health, whatever it may be. The next thing could be duty towards God, that God has given me so much. I have some duty towards God to do something for him. And finally, the highest level is love for God, not because of duty, but because of love. But many people, the demons are not even at level 1. They are at level 0. Okay. So that was 16.12. Okay, we will move on quickly now. Now 16.13 to 15. These are 3 verses together. And these 3 verses show the vivid thought process of demons. How they think. So a couple of important points I will note down. I don't think we will go through the Sanskrit. Let's go through it quickly. Idam adya maya labdham imam prapsyase manoratham idam asti idam apime bhavishyati punardhanam. Very nicely written verse. So idam adya maya labdham. So adya means today. Today I have gained so much. Maya labdham, I have got this. Idam prapsyase manoratham. So my desire, manoratha, has been fulfilled today by my actions. So that could be due to past karma. Why your actions, and those actions may not be the best actions. They may be sinful actions. But today it was fulfilled because of your past karma or something. It was allowed that, okay, you were entitled to this benefit. It was not because of your sinful activity, but because you were entitled, you got it. But the demons take it as a formula that, oh, because I did this, I got this benefit. Manoratham. Idam asti idam apime bhavishyati punardhanam. And like this, bhavishyati punardhanam, in the future, I will again get more if I repeat my actions. So they make this into a formula that, oh, today I enjoyed. I was able to avoid paying taxes by doing whatever this cheating. So this year I was able to do, next year I will do the same. This is a good formula I have come up with. Good way to evade taxes, good way to do whatever illegal, criminal, sinful activities. And now I'm enjoying. So they make it into a formula. Because you succeeded once, they do not realize who caused the success. The success was caused because of their past activities, not because of their intelligence in executing the criminal action or the sinful action. Sinful action can never lead to a positive result. Sinful action can only lead to a sinful or a painful result. So the translation is, okay, so the translation is combined for the 3 verses. Let's read these 3 verses. So the main point here is that demons develop a formula for successful execution of sinful activity. That is the sort of the main point of this verse. Once they achieve some sense gratification, they think they can repeat this to achieve sense gratification again and again. Bhavishyati punar dhanam. They got some wealth in one way, they will keep doing it. Next verse. Asau maya hatah shatrur hanishye cha aparanapi ishvaro aham bhogi siddho aham balvan sukhi. So the continuation of the thought is asau maya hatah shatrur. The shatru I have hata. Hata means to kill. So I have killed my enemy. So by this sinful activity, I have killed my enemy. Hanishye cha aparanapi. And I will, in the same way, I will kill others also. So again, you can see here, Lord Krishna is showing how the mentality is to repeat the sinful activity. And for what purpose? Ishvaro aham bhogi. I am the enjoyer. I am the Ishvara. Siddho aham balvan sukhi. And the benefits that I will get. So one of the points here is that I am the enjoyer. Aham Ishvara, aham bhogi. And what will I get? I will get 3 things. 1, 2, and 3. Siddhi, not spiritual siddhi, some kind of material siddhi. For Hiranyakasipu, it was to become the supreme lord of the universe, the complete controller of this universe. So that kind of siddhi, balvan, strength or power, and sukhi, happiness. Now, strangely, by devotional service, all 3 are available in a much easier way. One gets siddhi, okay? One gets bala on the the spiritual strength. Who was more balwan, Prahlad or Hiranyakashipu? We can clearly see this sort of dichotomy of balwan. All the potential weapons and everything in his arsenal was used by Hiranyakashipu. And Prahlad survived, isn't it? Not even, जैसे कहते हैं, बाल भी बांका नहीं हुआ. Not even one hair of his body was impacted. So who is more powerful? Just by that example. Powerful doesn't mean both have to use weapons. If one is able to defend himself against the greatest power and come out unscathed, he is also called powerful. Okay, you need power to defend also, not only to attack. So power is also there, and sukhi, happiness, is obviously there. So whatever they are aiming for, all that is obtainable by spiritual practices, by devotional service, by bhakti, or by any kind of spiritual progress as well. So they are looking for the same things, but in the wrong way. And that is going to be the focus of the next verse, where Lord Krishna will say, avidhi purvakam. They are going about it. The goal is the same, but they are going about it in 180-degree opposite way. If they just change the way, they will get the same things they are aspiring for. So that is the point. Okay. And then the last one, so this was number 13, sorry. This is 16.14 and now 16.15. Adhyo abhijanvan asmi ko anyo asti sadrisho maya yakshe dasyami modishya ityagyana vimohita. So they want to enjoy and they think they will get these things. And finally, when they get some temporary sense gratification, they pretend to be good people. So the translation is, I am the richest man. Adhyo abhijanvan asmi. I am so, Adhyo means very wealthy. Abhijanvan means I am very popular. I am loved by others. Ko anyo asti sadrisho maya. That there is nobody. I am looking around everywhere. Around me, there is nobody as, popular, as strong as me. Yakshe dashyami modishya. That I will give some charity. I will give some little sacrifice just for namesake, just to look good, to maintain my prestige. Ityagyana vimohita. Like that, these demons think in a completely ignorant way. This way of thinking is completely ignorant. So the fourth point is that on gaining some sense gratification, they put a show of goodness. So which means that they know what they are doing is illegal and they want to cover it up with a show of goodness. That means then there is a knowledge of right and wrong. Underneath there is everything wrong or sinful. They want to cover it up with a thin layer of righteousness, of good things, which is some small charity for namesake. So the translation is, I am the richest man surrounded by aristocratic relatives. There is none so powerful and happy as I am. I shall perform sacrifices. I shall give some charity, and thus I shall rejoice. In this way, such persons are deluded by ignorance. This is how they think. So you can see here these 4 steps. They develop a successful formula for committing sinful activities, and they try to repeat those to continue to develop sense gratification. They think what they want is siddhi, power, and sukha, happiness. And on gaining some of that, they try to cover it up with a layer of righteousness or goodness. So that is what they do. Okay. And we can see so many people, come to the temple or do some activity. Oh, something is going, let us just go there. Even they will take their children. Chalo, chalo, we have to go. And, okay, let's just 2 minutes. We have to just step in. We'll step in and come out. Now, that is better. 2 minutes is better than 0. But still, one can see the sort of the thin covering. One can realize that the covering is extremely thin. And so that is the situation. Okay. There is a lot more to be said about these verses, but we will discuss that some other time. Yeah. I'm just looking at my notes. I have many pages of notes. I'm trying to scan what to speak and what to skip. Yeah. So I wanted to give this one example that I mentioned, a very strong example that how deep-rooted sometimes the demoniac nature is within our heart. Now, it doesn't make us bad people at an absolute level. Many people are very good people. But the point is, when things are good, it is very easy to behave nicely. Okay, when the things or when situation is averse, that is when then the demoniac nature emerges. And depending on the goodness of a person, one has to see how much averse it has to be. So for a person who has practiced goodness for a long time, the situation has to be very, very, very averse for that demoniac nature to emerge. And for a perfect person, the demoniac nature may not be there. But in most of us, that it is there, demoniac nature, deep down at some level. The only question is how deep the situation needs to be, how bad, for that demoniac nature to come out. So we are the best judge of our own heart, and we have to see. So one very nice example that was given, I was in a class, a devotional class like this, by a person who is a professor at a university. He's a professor in the Department of Religion. Okay, so, and he's a devotee, and he teaches Hinduism and other, Eastern philosophy, religion, and all that stuff. Very, very respected devotee. So he was sharing at one time that there are so many other professors of religion, of Christianity, of this, and they are all teaching religion. So, it's about good things. They are teaching about good things. And every religion teaches good things about, caring for other people, loving other people, being truthful, being compassionate and kind, all those things. So in general, it was a body of nice people. Okay, whenever they would meet in the staff room of the department, it would be a nice atmosphere. Then in that university, now nobody wants to study religion these days. Everybody wants to study engineering and whatever, artificial intelligence, computer science. Who wants to become a major in Eastern philosophy or whatever, correct? So their department had to be cut down by half. So basically, it came down to that there would be layoffs of 50% of the professors would be asked to leave. And then when it came down to their job or their livelihood, then those same people who are supposed to be very kind and very good became backbiters. The head of the department, or whichever was the academic body to decide who will stay and who will go, they were all talking bad about each other. Oh, he didn't do this. You can see that when, so again, it's not a general statement. Maybe everybody was not doing, but at a general level, you can see that when the situation becomes averse, then demoniac natures may begin to emerge. So we have to see in our lives also that how much we have to test ourselves. At this point, sitting in the class, one may think, I'm a very good person. But when the situation is averse, then also we have to remain a good person, or we have to see in that situation, what did I do? And try to work on those areas. Or when someone provokes, it's very nice to be very nice and happy and, humble. But when someone provokes your, something, then all the mental agitation begins. We have to see that is part of demoniac nature, that the agitation is coming up. So we need to work on that. So when things are good, it is very easy to be daivik. That is the opposite of asuric. But when the situation is averse, then the asuric tendencies come out, and we have to be those are the best moments where we have to apply Bhagavad Gita. Okay, therefore constant reading and absorption in Bhagavad Gita is very important, or Bhagavatam, so that we can be reminded to apply it when the averse situations come up. They don't come up all the time, and you cannot make it up. If you make it up, if it is made up, you will be nice, because you know it's just a test. It's a what you call in a drama, what do you do? The rehearsal. It's just a rehearsal, it's not real. Okay. All right. So that was up to 15th. Now 16 and 17, Lord Krishna will describe the destination of such people. So destination of the demoniac people is hellish, I will say, conditions or planets. Both hellish conditions or hellish planets. Hellish conditions can be there even on the earthly planet. Those are less hellish conditions. Hellish planets means even more. The planet itself is hellish, and within that there are hellish conditions. Okay. Think of it like in modern terms, you can go to a regular prison, or you can go to a maximum security prison, or you could be sent to, as you know, they said some Alcatraz or Kalapani, or some Siberian desert or something like that, that kind of prison. So not only the condition is hellish, but the place is also hellish. Are you following? So there are hellish planets up to Patala Loka, Narka Loka and all, which Lord Krishna will mention. So 16.16. Aneka, okay, we'll skip the Sanskrit here just in interest of time. The last line is Patanti Narake Ashuchau. So the word Narka is mentioned here very clearly. They fall into Narka Loka, which is the hellish planets or hellish situation. Narka could mean both. So this is Naraka. Narka. Okay. So thus perplexed by various anxieties and bound by a network of illusions, this illusions, vimohitaha, which was described in the 3 verses before, how they are operating in this illusion way that somehow I will get my way, somehow I will get the sense gratification by doing all these sinful activities and repeating them over and over. That whole illusion is there. Moha jal samavrita, aneka chitta vibhranta, moha jal. That's the moha jal. That somehow I'm going to be successful. This law of karma and all, I will overpower it. I will show it that it doesn't work. At least in my case, it does not work. I will show it. So that's the tendency. Aneka chitta vibhranta moha jal samavrita prasakta kama bhogeshu patanti narake ashuchau. So they become strongly attached to sense gratification, sense enjoyment. Prasakta kama bhogeshu. So they enjoy like this. So the big point, which I didn't write on the slide here or on the board, I want to write it down. So because they actually obtain sense enjoyment, they are, what should I say? They are tricked, not tricked. They are, I would say, misled into believing that consequences do not, either they do not exist or they do not apply. This is a very, very important learning from the whole chapter. It is obvious, but there is an important point. Because they actually obtain sense enjoyment. So let me put it in red color here. But the real reason for their obtaining sense enjoyment, the actual cause of their obtaining of sense enjoyment is their past good karma. Their past good karma is there. Because of that, they are getting sense enjoyment. But they are committing sinful activities due to their conditioning, and they think that the sinful activities are giving them sense enjoyment. That is not the reason. The sinful activities are not the cause of giving them. They may be the immediate cause, but they are not the ultimate cause of giving them the sense enjoyment. The ultimate cause is their own past karma. Okay. But once their past good karma is over, then the sense enjoyment will also be over. They don't realize that. And this realization comes through Shastra. And that is why at the end of this chapter, there is so much importance, so much significance given to Shastra. To be able to see this connection where my sense enjoyment is coming from, not from my sinful activities. Not that somehow I was able to find a loophole in the law of karma. Like people find a loophole in the tax law and, save some tax, maybe even legally. There is no loophole in the law of karma. Okay. So that is a very, very important point in this chapter. And ultimately they are going down. They have to repay for their sinful activities. So the translation is, thus perplexed by various anxieties and bound by a network of illusions, they become too strongly attached to sense enjoyment and fall down into hell. So again, the focus is, what is the destination? So that was the focus. Yes. Destination is hellish conditions or hellish planets. So that is continued in the 17th verse. Sorry, this was already, wait. I'm sorry. That was 17th. Wait. Yeah, 17th. So 17th verse is, self-complacent and always impudent, deluded by wealth and false prestige, they sometimes proudly perform sacrifices in name only without following any rules or regulations. So they do sometimes these sacrifices or dharmic looking activities in name only. So yajante nam yagyaiste. So nama yagyaiste means only in name, for namesake, for show business. So this 17th verse was showing their external pretense. Pretense is with a C or an S? I don't know. Pretense. Okay, maybe with a C. So their external pretense. So that is what is being shown here. Yeah, I'll quickly go to the 18th verse also. And this one is showing their real internal thinking. So 17th is showing the external pretense, 18th is showing their internal thinking. Bewildered by false ego, strength and pride, lust and anger, the demons become envious of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is situated in their own bodies and in the bodies of others, and blaspheme against the real religion. So ahankaram, balam darpam, kamam krodham cha samshritah. So they have taken ashraya samshritah of these 5 things: ahankara, balam, darpam, kama, krodham. So all these things they have taken to these things, and then they become envious of God himself. So mam atma paradeheshu pradvishanto abhyasuyaka. So they begin to blaspheme, or they become anti-theists, not only atheists but anti-theists. So by extreme sense gratification, what happens? They become not only atheists, anti-theists. Anti-theists. They become against God. And this is where that's a big quantum jump into their hellish propensities, into their demoniac nature. So far it was, they were committing sinful activities towards other people. That itself is bad. That's the first violation of the Ishavashya principle. Many of you are undergoing the Ishopanishad, or we just completed the whole Ishopanishad discussion over last several weeks. So first principle is that one should consider that everything belongs to Ishavashyam idam sarvam yat kincha jagatyam jagat. That everything in this world belongs to Ishvara. Tena tyaktena bhunjitha. Only use whatever has been given to you. Ma gridha means do not aspire, do not have your eyes, do not have your greed. Ma gridha kasya svidhanam, on the property of other people. So otherwise it's called anyaya. So that is violation of first principle. The second quantum jump. The first was from goodness to anyaya. The second one is towards God. And what is not written directly here, but acharyas have explained that they become anti-devotees of God. Because first they become anti, or they become against God, and therefore they become against followers of God, because they cannot find God. How will a demon find God? Not possible. But devotees of God are there around always. Sometimes these devotees of God try to give some sense to the demons, so they come close to the demons also. So these demons commit a lot of offense against the devotees, which is in Sanskrit, the word is Vaishnava aparadh. And this is something which is a huge red flag. This is something where they have crossed the big red line. They have already crossed a red line by committing sinful activities. But when you harm the devotees of Bhagavan, now that is something that Bhagavan does not tolerate at all. This is like crossing yet another quantum. That's why I said it's another quantum jump in their sinful activities. And see what Lord does to such people. Next two verses is 16.19 to 16.20. It is not just, though the name Vaishnava aparadh is not mentioned, Lord Krishna is not talking only about those who are committing sinful activities, but he is also talking more about those who have offended his dear devotees. A very nice story about this. Anybody can name some story from Bhagavatam? Many stories are there, but one very prominent story.
Ambarish Maharaj.
Ambarish Maharaj, very nice. Where the Lord himself refuses to save somebody who has offended his devotee. Completely, not only refuses, he expresses his utter inability to save a devotee. He says, I myself cannot change my law. It's not even a law. I have given the laws in the hands of my devotee. Only he can change. I have become a subservient to my devotees. I have put devotees on the throne. I have become a servant. Aham bhakta paradhino. I am the paradhin. I am under the control of my devotee. He controls the, knobs or the ropes of Bhagavan. Not that devotee wants to control, but the Lord has given up control over his own self. So that is the point. And therefore, to such demons, the Lord, over the demons, he still has control. He says, you are finished, completely finished. And that is the sense, or that is the understanding how one should take 19 and 20. It is Lord Krishna's, because one can ask the other, this is a question that is asked, please listen carefully. 19 and 20, why is Krishna unkind? You will see little bit of a unkindness of Krishna. Krishna is supposed to be so kind. The unkindness really shows up to an unimaginable extent due to the offense towards the devotees by these demons. And if you see 100% of the demons in the Shastra are those who are offending devotees. Tell me one example of whoever is called a demon who didn't offend a devotee. Is there any such example? Because those are considered lesser demons. Every demon is a big demon because he has offended a devotee. Otherwise, you don't get to be called a big demon. To be called a big demon, like, in US, for mass shooting, you have to kill at least 5 people. Otherwise, it's not called mass shooting. If you kill 2 people, then you don't get the label of what you call mass, what is it called in the US? Gun, whatever. You have to kill at least 5 people. Then you are given the label of mass shooting. So if you want that big label, you have to harm a devotee. Okay. So those are the biggest devotees who harm, demons who harm devotees. And this is Lord Krishna's reciprocation towards those who offend devotees. Because that is where it leads to. The demoniac nature ultimately leads to offending devotees. Tan aham dvishtah kruran samsareshu naradhaman kshipamya ajasram ashubhan asurishva eva yonishu. So those who are envious and mischievous, who are lowest among men, I perpetually cast them into the ocean of material existence, into various demoniac species of life. So Lord Krishna is saying, Tan aham, I personally do this. I don't let even my law of karma take care of them. I personally take care of the demons who harm my devotees, personally. So like, in the Prabhupada Lilamrita, there was this Mr. Nair who was trying to cheat Srila Prabhupada and gave Prabhupada a lot of trouble for the Juhu temple. You can read about it in Prabhupada Lilamritam and all. He got a heart attack, and his wife said that in his sleep, when he got a heart attack, he was shouting as if a big lion is killing him. So we can all imagine who that big lion would be who was killing this person. In his dream, he was seeing a big lion, and then he left his body. He died because of, official reason was heart attack. But the lion was none other than Lord Narsingha. So like that, the Lord personally comes and deals with those who offend the devotees. This is a very important point. Okay. I am seeing there are few other points, but yeah. Next, 16.20. So that was 16.19 and 16.20. Asurim yonim apanna mudha janmani janmani mam aprapyeva kaunteya tato yanti adham gatim. So adhamam gatim. So attaining repeated birth amongst the species of demoniac life, O son of Kunti, such persons can never approach me. Gradually they sink down to the most abominable type of existence. So the consequence of Vaishnava aparadh, or the most serious offense, is, many lifetimes of demoniac conditions or hellish conditions. And also because by, in that sort of, to become such a big demon where you seriously offended devotees, you had to commit lot of other crimes, lot of other sinful activities. So it's like mass shooting. So, killing one person itself is bad enough. So you have to suffer many lifetimes of hellish conditions. So, Mudha janmani janmani mam aprapya iva kaunteya tato yanti adhamam gatim. So he takes to the adhamam gatim. The word paramam gatim is used many times in Bhagavad Gita. One time Lord Krishna is using adhamam gatim, means the lowest destination. So, so these demons go to the lowest destination. Okay, so that is 16.20. Yeah. So not another, but one important point to note here is that the downfall begins with smaller demoniac actions. On day one doesn't become a mass shooter. That downfall starts slowly. So the point is, the sooner you take care of it, the sooner you fix it, the better it is. Instead of letting it go to a situation so bad where you will be personally rejected and personally punished by the Lord himself. So one should not wait till such such a serious situation arrives. So that is, it begins with small demoniac actions. It gradually goes down. So it's not overnight. So catch yourself before you fall down too deep. That is the learning is catch and correct yourself before falling too deep into hellish conditions. Okay. All right. So it is 7:45 and we covered till 20th verse. Are there any questions? Otherwise, we can cover a couple of more verses. Let's see, something is there on the chat. Okay. So Narottam Vilas Prabhu is sharing some how we can render perfect service. Yeah, so that was the point on anxiety. Srila Prabhupada was saying that yes, anxiety to serve Krishna is a good kind of anxiety. Thank you very much for sharing. Anything else? Any questions? Okay, then let us cover two more verses. Or yeah, I don't think we'll be able to cover all the four. So 16.21 and 22. So now this will give the three root causes of how downfall begins. So remember, what was the last point we talked about? Downfall begins. Remember this. How downfall begins. That was the point we talked about, isn't it? So what is the root cause of how downfall begins? Three root causes. And among those three, there is one root cause. And very straightforward answer. What is the one root cause? Who can tell?
Ignorance.
No? We
Desire.
just discussed it
Oh, okay.
1 hour back or something. What is the root
Anger.
cause? What is the root cause?
Uncontrolled desire.
Propensity for sense gratification.
Very nice. Desire, somebody said, or not anger. So the root cause is propensity to enjoy or for sense gratification. What we would call as kama. Okay. So this is the next verse. 16.21. Trividham
In
narak.
second chapter itself, sir. In second chapter itself,
Second chapter, yes. This is such.
Sangat sanjayate kama, kamat krodho vijayate, krodhat bhavat sammoha, sammohat.
Absolutely correct. 100%. So you need not wait till 16th chapter to learn this. Lord Krishna told this in this so important. Lord Krishna told it in the second chapter itself, just like Prabhuji said. Sanjayate kamat kamaha. First place. Another time he tells in 4th chapter, 10th verse, very important verse. Vita raga bhaya krodha. In 3rd chapter also the same thing is there. Vita raga bhaya krodha. 2nd chapter, 3rd chapter, 4th chapter, every chapter he has repeated. So you might have forgotten because it's a long course and we covered those chapters long back. So Lord Krishna is bringing this up again. Trividham narakasya idam dwaram nashanam atmanaha kamah krodhas tatha lobhas tasmad etat trayam tyajet. Very important verse. So what is being said here, the translation is that there are 3 gates. Trividham dwaram. Dwara means gate. 3 gates. Trividham dwaram. 3 gates leading to this hell, which is lust, anger, and greed. Kama, krodha, and lobha. Every man should give these up. Trayam tyajet. These 3 trayam. Tyajet means you should tyag. Tyajet means to give up, tyag. For they lead to the degeneration of the soul. Nashanam atmanaha. So atma is nashanam means it is finished. Not that atma is finished. Atma never dies. But basically it can never enjoy. It can never enjoy the spiritual bliss. Not never means never, but for a very, very long time. It's like, very, very long time. Okay. So the point is kama, krodha, and lobha. So I just want to repeat this concept for benefit of everyone. Kama is the root, which leads to krodha or lobha. It leads to krodha when it is unfulfilled. Okay. There is kama, there is strong desire for sense gratification. When you don't get it, when your plans don't go as expected, when your plans are thwarted and the desires are unfulfilled, it results in anger. Or even if it was fulfilled but taken away. Okay, you were almost there and then it was taken away, or you got it but it was taken away. Something, whatever may be the situation. Okay, there is krodha, there is anger. All right, following. And when it is fulfilled, then there is lobha. You want more. That is lobha. There is another one, 4.10 mentioned. So there are actually 4 items. The 4th important item is, so vita raga. Raga and kama are the same one. So I will just put it here, kama / raga. Kama is a stronger word. Okay, raga also is attachments, but kama is a stronger version of raga. So vita raga bhaya krodha. So there is lobha, you want more, plus there is bhaya. So lobha means I want more, and bhaya means I fear losing it. Whatever I have, whatever was fulfilled, I am afraid of losing it. So always there is bhaya. But at the same time, you want more. Okay? Not only you want to protect what you have, you want to increase what you have. So this bhaya is coming from protect what I have. And this lobha is coming from increase what I have. And krodha is why didn't I have? That is krodha. Why didn't I have? Who is to blame? I will go kill that person who destroyed or who didn't let me fulfill my desires. So that is krodha. So are you following this? So this chart is very important, this whole sort of flow chart or whatever, this diagram. Okay, so please remember this. I will put it in green color. This one. Okay, this is very important for you to remember. All these four terms are there: kama, krodha, lobha, and bhaya. And what is the connection between all of these? Okay, so that is what is being described in 16 point. This is 16.21. Trividham narakasya idam dwaram nashanam atmanah kama krodhas tatha lobhas tasmad etat trayam tyaje. Next, in the same continuation, 16.22. Etair vimuktah kaunteya tamodvaraistribhir naraha acharati atmanah shreyas tato yati param gatim. So the main point is that those who escape these three are the root for the whole thing. So if I were to compress that green box here, whatever is there, that compress, if I compress it here like this, it goes to 1, it goes to this plus this, right? Whatever that green box, this whole thing leads into a vicious cycle of demoniac actions or activity or demoniac nature. Okay, so if the point is, if you can correct it here itself, this is the best place to address or to prevent the downfall. The first place, our desires. But again, all three are also a good place to prevent our downfall. So the man who has escaped these three gates of hell, O son of Kunti, performs acts conducive to self-realization and thus gradually attains the paramam gatim, the supreme destination. So in the previous verse, or in the verse previous to the previous one, there was adhamam gatim. So Lord Krishna is giving a contrast from how you go to adhamam gatim, the worst place. And that happens when one offends devotees or offends God and devotees. But if you take care of the situation right from the beginning, then you go to paramam gatim. So that is 22nd verse. Tato yati param gatim. Okay, so that is the best place to address or the take care of your downfall, so that you can make progress towards spiritual destination. Okay, I'm looking at my notes here. Yeah. Now, the last two verses which we will cover, I don't want to cover them in 5 minutes because they are very important. So the last two verses, 16.23 and 16.24. What it is going to describe is the starting point for spiritual journey. The starting point for spiritual journey is scriptures. And especially for those who have some demoniac tendency, and which includes all of us. Everyone, like I said, has in varying degree. It may be 0.001%, in some case it may be 5%, in some case it may be 50%, whatever. More than 50%, probably you would not be in the class. You would be either in the jail or with some other like-minded criminals elsewhere. You would definitely not be in Bhagavad Gita class. So anyway, that was just my gradation. So don't take it to heart. Yeah, so the next two verses will talk about scriptures. So we will stop there. Are there any questions or comments, anything? Otherwise, we will complete these two verses next time, and we will start the next chapter, 17th chapter as well. And then we will do a switch to the 17th chapter after completing these two. We'll break it up into two different recordings, so there'll be a brief gap. Any questions, anything?
Namaste, Guruji. Lakshmi Prasad here.
Yes.
How
Krishna.
can we reduce this demonic qualities? Like how can we increase good qualities?
Very nice. How can we increase good qualities and how can we reduce demoniac qualities?
Yeah.
So first thing is to identify from, so it assumes that you have, I'm just making a generic statement, of course, and many of us, lot of us know, but it assumes there is some knowledge of what is a good quality and what is a bad quality. That is a given. Okay. Now, once there is a identification that yes, there is this bad quality in me, always the bad quality, whatever it is there, even a good quality for that matter, but we are not talking about good qualities. The bad qualities are there because of some attachment. So if you share with me, let us say, some quality which you consider is bad in you, or as an example, you don't have to point all your bad qualities. This is a public video. But as an example, then you will be able to identify. I can help you to identify, or you can identify what is the attachment behind it. And once you identify what is the attachment behind it, then you can evaluate how strongly you are attached to that attachment. Is it worth getting that attachment, whatever it may be, and sort of be this kind of a person with that bad quality, the consequences of living with that bad quality. Remember, we talked about one of the consequences of living with a bad quality is anxiety. And maybe you have not committed tax fraud and you do not have anxiety of a tax letter or a tax person coming to your house. But let's say that some bad qualities there is anxiety about something. Maybe there is anxiety how this is affecting my body. Suppose there is bad qualities about smoking or drinking. There is anxiety, oh, maybe I will die sooner because I will get a heart attack. It is mentioned that, doctors say that, smoking increases the risk of heart attack. Oh, is my life getting reduced? Whatever may be the case, the anxiety will, be there. So one has to evaluate that whatever bad qualities I have, which is due to some attachment, is it worth the consequences? Sometimes it is very hard to give up the bad qualities unless the consequences become very big. Sometimes you continue smoking, but after heart attack happens, and suppose you survive heart attack, immediately give up. People give up. So when the consequences become very serious, that some kind of a jolt, जैसे कहते हैं ना लात पड़ती है जब, what do you say? बातों के भूत लातों, whatever. लातों के भूत बातों से नहीं मानते. So when you get a kick from nature, then you realize, oh my God, what was I doing? But the smart thing to do is to predict, look forward, or learn from other people's mistakes. Oh, he was smoking and he got a heart attack. Maybe I should fix myself. So through this process of identification of our attachments and the consequences and the magnitude of the consequences, maybe it has not reached, don't let it reach that high magnitude. See around or predict what could be the magnitude and see if you are willing to live with the consequences. As far as from the 16th chapter's view is concerned, that is the answer. But if we'll go to the next level, from the entire Bhagavad Gita's standpoint, the answer expands into not only attachments and realizing the cost we are paying to obtain the attachments. Attachments are not free. Like they say, there's no free lunch. So even these attachments come with a price that we need to pay, which is called anxiety or whatever other consequences. But more than that, it is about replacing those attachments with spiritual attachments, with devotional attachments. And when you replace that with devotional attachments, then it becomes a good kind of attachment, and it becomes good kind of anxiety, and it becomes good kind of consequence. Everything that we just discussed becomes completely reflected 180 degree. And just from I found this on the web. What? Apple is listening to everything. So my Siri just popped up. Anyway, so it becomes from the bad consequences to good consequences. And that has been the subject matter of the entire Bhagavad Gita. So if you were listening to the lectures from the previous many classes, I hope you will be able to put it together. And the best way to develop spiritual attachment is by associating with spiritually minded people. Like they say, the best way to become a drunkard is to go to the bar. Not because they sell liquor in the bar, but more because you get association. Liquor you can buy even, these days from Amazon, you can order it also probably. I don't know if they mail liquor, but they do mail honey that I have ordered. But maybe they mail you the other kind of honey, called liquor. So you don't need to associate. But why do people, they don't, you don't need to go to a bar if you just want to get it. But why do people go to the bar? Not for just the liquor, but for association of liquor lovers. So to love God, associate with God lovers. And you will automatically, gradually develop love for spiritual items. And they will very quickly replace your material attachments. And with that, your qualities will also change from demoniac to daivic, to divine. So I hope that explained sort of the whole thing.
Dhanyawad, Guruji.
Anything else? Okay, so thank you very much for joining. We are almost coming to the close of the whole series. 2 more chapters are left. So 17th chapter may take about 2 classes. 18th chapter may take about, I would say, 3 or 4 classes. You will see. So about, I would say, 5 to 6 classes we will be done. So please think about, after these classes are over, how you will continue your spiritual life. Please think seriously about it. You have gone through a long course of Bhagavad Gita. please keep that in mind. Don't let it be just a educational activity for your mind. Make it a lifestyle, make it a habit, your spiritual practices, because we are talking about life. It is, don't make it as yet another sense gratification. Bhagavad Gita was so nice, I felt so happy, and now you go look for happiness in other areas as well. So Bhagavad Gita is a instruction. It is not a item for enjoyment. It is an item which will give you enjoyment if you practice it. So it is meant to be practiced. So please start thinking about that. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Guru.
Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. आता